What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Baltimore Orioles franchise here in Madden 23, where we are just about to get into the MLB draft and then check out the All-Star games at all levels, the MLB, AA, and AAA. And in this series, it's mostly going to be highlighting the All-Star game, some of these games going up to the trade deadline, and I want to get your feedback on some of these trades that we should make. I did go in and update our trade block. I just put John Means in there. He's declining with a bit of his stuff, and as is Kyle Gibson. I don't think that we'll actually trade Kyle Gibson this year. He's pitching fairly well for us. I feel like we don't really have the depth to kind of fill that need this year. But I have Michael Givens. He's someone who I'm looking to trade before the trade deadline. Maybe we can drop him down to AAA. I don't want him in the major leagues just because he's not really getting innings. He only has 1.2 innings pitched this year, but he is listed as one of our 4 middle relievers, and he has a 16.2 ERA. I've already looked around. We can get a few guys that can come in and be like utility fielders for us, and those are some of the guys. I'll walk you through some of those guys at the end of the episode. Looking at our position players, Anthony Bimboom he's just not really doing anything for us, and I think he's in AAA, but he's not hitting very well. 239 with no homers and 9 RBIs. At first base, we have Lewin Diaz, Ryan O'Hearn, John Lester on the trade block. We have Jorge Mateo at shortstop just because he's not hitting very well. Sub 200 average with a 223 OBP in 52 games. So he's a utility fielder, but he's not really playing at a good level. I'm not looking to actively trade him right now, but just shopping him. Franchy Cordero's on trade block, but we'll probably be moving him up to the major league roster after the All-Star break. And then McKenna and Stowers, those are 2 guys who I didn't really think were in our plans going forward. McKenna's hitting 243 in AAA, and Stowers hitting 242. So they're 26 years old and 25 years old, so I don't really feel like they have a spot in our plans, especially with a lot of these young outfielders like Colton Cowser, Heston Kjerstad, and Austin Hayes is fairly young, and Toby Welk has been playing out of his mind, as I highlighted in a couple episodes ago. He's 25 years old. His potential went up to a C, 65 overall, hitting 313 right now in AA. So he's one of those guys who's going to get a move up to AAA to replace Franchy Cordero. And then I put Mazzara on the trade block just because he's not really doing anything for us at AAA at the moment. So with that, we can start simming towards the draft as we win our first game against the Yankees, and we have a trade offer from the Giants. Seth Corey for Jorge Mateo. Seth Corey is a 24-year-old starting pitcher, throws lefty. His walks are very low, so that's not a trade that I'm looking to make at all right now. Win our second game against the Yankees, and the third, Dylan Beavers has a torn MCL. Holy shit. All right, so he's going to be out for 6 months. And for that move, we're going to move T.T. Bowens up to AA. He has left field as his secondary position, and he's a decent hitter with decent fielding and decent speed, deep potential, but he will move up to the AA roster for now. And we can continue simming. Looks like Chris Valamont is going to be out for a little bit, and we will just auto-fix these lineups. Moving on. And it's All-Star Future games, so I think we do want to get into this game so we can see some of these top prospects that we have. And we only have a couple guys playing here in this game. We have Colton Cowser, who's a center fielder, and we have Kobe Mayo, who is a infielder. I'm pretty sure he only plays like second base and third base. So with that, I'm just going to kind of go into quick manage and just get a look at the guys that are on our team. So here is Colton Cowser hitting 275 on the season, and he's here in the bottom of the second, hitting 7th with a man here at second, looking to drive him in to give the AL All-Stars a lead, and I just let that go right over the middle. And right now, Colton Cowser, I believe, is at the AAA level. So he was also someone that I was thinking about moving up to the majors, but I think I'm going to still stick with Franchy Cordero because I don't want to, again, stagnate Colton Cowser's development. And we have a new pitcher coming into the game, Kyle Harrison, in the bottom of the fourth, with Colton Cowser getting the leadoff spot. A lefty on the mound. Cows are able to work this to a 2-2 count. Oh, and got me swinging at the slider outside. Well, and this might be Cowser's last opportunity to get a hit here in this game. I don't know if the Futures runs the same way as kind of the All-Star Series where, you know, they switch them out in the 6th inning or 7th inning for a new player. But maybe we can get a look at Kobe Mayo getting a bat here later in the game. And Cowser has actually worked this to a 3-1 count. And pretty much all of those balls has missed very badly. And pitcher stays alive with a 3-2 count here now. And popped up foul. So Cowser stays alive, 3-2 still. And he takes a walk with that slider missing inside. And 2 are on with 1 out. The bottom of the 7th, and we'll just pop into quick manage to get a look at all of this. Montgomery walks, sac fly, and a double from Volpe. So he scores, and the AL Futures are up now 3-0. And we didn't get an opportunity to look at Kobe Mayo, and I simmed through Cowser's last opportunity because I thought that maybe he would have got taken out. But the AL All-Stars have won, or the future All-Stars have won, to a tune of 3-1. And Cowser struck out on his last opportunity. If we get a look at this box score from the AL, Colton Cowser, you see him third from the bottom, went 0 for 3 with a walk, 2 strikeouts, but scored a run. And we didn't have any pitchers here in the AL game, but those are the stats for our pitchers. And in NL, if you care about this, these are those stats. A home run from James Wood was their only score of the game. And we're back here at the calendar. 1 day left until the draft, and here it is. And we will go to this draft. And this is my first time doing this, but I have seen a couple other content creators, other YouTubes do this. So I think we're just going to go to our team rank and just add everyone to the draft queue. Well, this was a little bit different than I thought it was, but this is just the queue for our first pick. But we have the 17th pick, so it's kind of we're gonna see what everyone else kind of deals with to see what we do with our first pick. I'm thinking going starting pitcher first, because we didn't really get a lot of feedback on our last episode, and then there's not a lot of high-ranked relief pitchers, but I think if we can go, you know, starting pitcher, relief pitcher, fielder, and then kind of work from there, I feel like that'll be a pretty good plan. So we will start the draft, and from what I know, the first 3 picks kind of celebrated like this. So let's see who the Pirates have picked, and it is Machado, a center fielder. Okay, I think says he was 3rd on our board. And the Nationals go with Weaver. He is a starting pitcher, and he was 19th on our board, so I don't remember. Oh, actually, I do remember him. He was someone who I highlighted because he was not ranked in the MLB ranking. But 19th on our board, and they took him at number 2 overall. So that makes me question of what exactly to do. And Floyd Romero, someone who I was very high on, he goes number 3 to Detroit. So I wonder how long we have to pick for each pick. You see us on the right side of the board, sitting at 17th. Richie Martin goes to the Rangers. Oh, and I can look at all of these stuff. Nice. So Richie Martin, a center fielder. Kurt Foley goes to the Twins, a left fielder, the top left fielder in the draft. Herb Henry, a starting pitcher who was ranked 40th in the draft. Wow. Goes to the A's. Brandon Parnell, a starting pitcher, goes to the Reds. I feel like starting pitcher is the way to go because I feel like this class is very deep in starting pitcher and it's going to be depleted pretty quickly. As Rich Garcia, another starter, goes to the Royals, 7th in our draft ranking. Robert Gaucho, a guy I was fairly high on, he goes to the Rockies at number 9. And Ron Witt, this is a guy that I was thinking I was wanting to draft, but he goes to the Miami Marlins here at number 10. And the Angels go with the first baseman, the first position player, or fourth position player taking off the board here by the Angels. First baseman Albert Wolf, very good hitter. Only 18 years old, but we'll see how his career pans out. Richard Lettier goes to the Diamondbacks. He was another guy I was fairly high on, but he just didn't quite fall to us. Paul McDougall, a catcher, goes to the Cubs. Conrad Irizaria, right fielder, goes here to Boston. And the White Sox draft Dana Rhodes, starting pitcher out of Kansas. And Reggie Jackson, an outfielder, goes to the San Francisco Giants. And we are now up on the board. Gustavo Tejada would be our first pick. We have 4 minutes to make our pick. That is stressful. So do we go position player, starting pitcher? Solomon Wall was someone who I had ranked fairly high. He's out of Georgia. His hit per 9 is a little concerning. Gustavo Tejada, everything is fairly concerning for him. I'm debating between Solomon Wall and Gustavo Tejada. That's the rough pick because Solomon Wall, his potential could be lower, but Gustavo Tejada, the only thing that concerned me is that low strikeout rating and the low pitch control. I'm looking at their future. His future rating is 56 to 69, and we have him fairly highly scouted, so all that is pretty much assured. But Solomon Wall, we only have 45%. His pitch control is 53 to 79, and his strikeouts are fairly high, but he will give up a few hits. Decisions. Or we can go position players. Jorge Freitas, very good hitter, very good position player in the field at first base. We also have James Sciambi here at first base. He's pretty much only a hitter. And Perry Hollis, I feel, is just a little bit too much of a reach. I feel like we got to go with one of these starting pitchers. And I'm going to go with Solomon Wall. So that's our pick. Hopefully he can pan out. We'll have to wait to see what his ratings are for the end of this episode. But we do have 2 first-round picks here. We are set up at 52, or I thought we had 2 first-round picks. Yeah, and then competitive balance round B. Then again at 71. But Jorge Freitas goes right off the board behind us to the Brewers. James Sciambi goes to Tampa Bay right behind him. Chester Kuhn, another guy I was fairly high on. He's a lefty, so he goes to the Blue Jays. Howie Wright here goes to the St. Louis Cardinals. Leland St. Louis is reached for by the Mariners here at 22. Dion Lee, starting pitcher out of Chinese Taipei, goes to the Guardians. Buddy Fitzgerald goes to Atlanta. That's a guy I was really hoping to get in the second round. He was 20th and 30th on our board and 20th on the overall draft ranking. So Atlanta got a pretty solid pick with him. Starting pitcher Claudio Sierra goes to the Padres here. Julio Ornelas. Randall Bonner, the only second baseman that I had really scouted, goes to the Phillies. I'm not really going to run through the rest of these after we get into the rounds after the first round, but I do want to run through some of these guys after the first round that I thought, could have been guys that we drafted. Miles Costello is someone that I liked. He goes here to the Astros out of Illinois. Ken Heath, a catcher, goes to the Mets. Very good fielder, so-so hitter. And then LA goes with Perry Hollis, a starting pitcher out of New York. We have a closer that I like. Kirk Cousins goes to the Twins here out of New Jersey. And Gustavo Tejada finally comes off the board at number 42 to the Pirates. That's a little upsetting. He was someone that I was looking forward into getting, but I mean, we have Solomon Wall that we got with our first pick, so we'll see how the rest of this second round shakes out, and I'll take y'all through some of those picks. Floyd Jenkins actually just went to Detroit. He was probably the top relief pitcher that I was looking at. Looks to be a stud. His walks are a little bit low from what you would like, but still looks to be a good pitcher. So we're up here at pick number 52. There's one guy that I just added to the draft queue, and that is Jorge Valido. We know he has good potential. He's 100% scouted, 86 potential, 91. He throws lefty. He's going to be a good prospect. I feel like we just go ahead and get him right now to solidify that. And his bonus demand is slightly under $1 million. So I think we will draft Jorge Valido and have that relief pitcher set up right there, that lefty relief pitcher. But I don't think we're done drafting pitchers at all. And Ricky Kent went to the Braves. It looks like the Braves are just taking all of the fielders that I want. Ricky Kent, 19 years old, very good hitter, very good arm in the outfield. Man, I was really thinking we could grab him. And then Ivan Zambrano, the catcher that I looked at, who had a little bit of pop. He goes there to Houston. And here in the compensatory round, Waylon Sedano, a relief pitcher who had scouted a good bit, he goes to the Cubs. It's interesting, the Dodgers actually took someone who was injured, Eduardo Chavez, but that's not something that we have to worry about. Carlos Lima goes to the Guardians, and it is now our pick. So we went starting pitcher. We went with a relief pitcher. Do we go and get Milt Guillen, a very good fielder, decent hitter, someone who I had scouted in our last scouting spot? He doesn't have good vision or discipline, so I don't know if he's someone that we want to try and go for. I was actually just scouting by our top 100 there. Darrell Levitt, I don't feel like he's going to be that good of a pickup for us. And through some of these outfielders, what I'm looking for is a little bit more pop, a very good arm. Will Coates, it looks like he has that. Do we go with Will Coates, or do we look kind of more on the infield? Omar Brito is kind of below average to average at everything. A first baseman that I kind of highlighted, Doral McLeod, with a lot of power. Richard Richmond, who is there, he has a lot of kind of overall talent, good at kind of everything. I think we're going to go with Cameron Dickinson. Looks to be a very good pitcher, has very good pitch velocity already, throws right, throws hard, and he's a relief pitcher, which is what we need. He opted out of his doctor exam, but hopefully that doesn't come back in our ass to bite us. And I know you guys aren't playing this, but man, this is very nerve-wracking to me to have to be timed with this. Usually whenever I pick playing Madden or something, I pause the draft. I like to have time to think about, what I'm doing. But we see here in round 3, Richard Richmond gets drafted here by the Reds. Darrell Levitt, another outfielder that I was looking at, gets taken by the Royals. Will Coates, that left fielder that I literally just highlighted, gets taken out from under me by the Rockies. I feel like he's going to do very well there with that power. Going to Coors Field, I mean, come on. He's going to be hitting 40, 50 home runs a year. Milt Guillen gets taken by the Diamondbacks here. A little upsetting that he goes. But now it is our chance here at pick number 92, and I have no clue what to do. I'm thinking we need to go with kind of a fielder. We're getting a little bit low on starting pitchers. I feel like this is probably the spot to pick another one of those. John Spabori. I don't want to draft him just because I'm going to have trouble saying his name. Ira Chavez. Maybe he's someone that can come out of the pen. He's a righty. Lewis Tharp looks to be pretty solid overall, but has some hits given up problem. Actually, I think we are going to go with David Gonzalez. He's the only one who I have scouted fairly higher. He's 80% scouted. He's pretty much average at everything, but he has good velocity, good break. He's someone who could do a pretty good job coming out of the pen, maybe make a jump to closer. He's got 82 to 89 potential, so we know that's pretty solid. So David Gonzalez is the pick. And a first baseman that I was looking at, Doyle McLeod, goes here in the 4th to the Rockies. Another guy who is probably going to excel with that high power. And we are on the clock here at 122. And I have a few guys here added to the board. They're all pitchers, but I don't know if we want to go pitcher right now. I feel like if we want to get a starting pitcher, it has to be one of these guys right now. Ira Chavez. He lacks a bit in his home runs given up. And then Alexi Alonso, kind of the same thing. So they're extremely similar. Alexi Alonso just has a lower floor and a higher ceiling. And we're going to go ahead and draft Alexi Alonso. He's kind of just the better of the two, I believe. So it's probably a mistake, but we're kind of getting down to the bottom of the barrel. I don't really have anybody drafted over 54%. We'll see how the rest of this draft turns out. I don't know how well it's going to go for us. And looking at how this draft has gone, we're here at 152, and I probably should have drafted position players a little bit early because there is not much here at all. But I will take a chance on Percy Kutch here. He's 147th in the draft ranking. We haven't scouted him at all, but he might have some good fielding, good vision, and some good contact with a little bit of power. And he's 21, and he hits switch, and he's only one of the few switch hitters that I saw, so take a chance on him. And then we have Steve Odell here at catcher, who I'm also thinking about taking with our last pick, or Michael Turnwall, center fielder, who might have a little bit of pop. I kind of wasted all of my picks on pitchers at the beginning and didn't really get any position players, but we have a lot of good young position players that I think that we can build up. And then the question is kind of just if our pitching can catch up to that. And we're on the clock here in round 6. I simmed to it, and of course Michael Turnwall gets picked. It like literally is right after I said it, of course. But Steve Odell is still there, but I do want to look around to see if there's anything else that we can find. And there is not, so we are going to go ahead and draft Steve Odell. And I'm a little bit worried about this draft class, to be honest with you guys. And we will look to see kind of what some of these draft picks look like. And we have to sign them by August 1st. So that gives us a couple weeks to sign them. We'll simulate this game against Minnesota. And we are now in the All-Star weekend, and we have a Double-A All-Star game. And the Home Run Derby, let's see who is in the Home Run Derby, if it's anyone for our team. And I'll go 4 minutes. And there are no Orioles in the Home Run Derby, but we'll sim through this, and I will let y'all see who wins. There's your lineup: Aaron Judge, Nathaniel Lowe, Jose Ramirez, Fernando Tatis, Matt Olson, Manny Machado, Mike Trout, and Ronald Acuna Jr. And through the first round, Aaron Judge defeats Ronald Acuna, Tatis defeats Matt Olson, so both of my Braves players are out of this. That is unfortunate. Jose Ramirez defeats Manny Machado, and Mike Trout defeats Nathaniel Lowe. And in your final is going to be Fernando Tatis Jr. and Jose Ramirez. And your champion is Fernando Tatis Jr., winning the Home Run Derby. And he's in this game. He was on the custom roster that I imported into this, so he doesn't have any stats, but he is in the game. And he is your Home Run Derby champion. And we move on to the Double-A All-Star game. And we actually have a ton of players. Almost every one of our starters is here in the lineup in Double-A. But I'm still going to do the same thing we did last time in our quick manage. You see we have Norby, our second baseman, Holiday, our shortstop, O'Hearn, our first base, Toby Welk, our left fielder, Kobe Mayo, our third baseman. Now, these are all players that we're automatically in the lineup. We have more down on the bench that I will let the computer, interchange players as they see, and then we'll see if some of these guys. I don't know why we're playing as. Why are we West when? Oh, well, I guess it's a minor league team. Connor Norby with a fly ball. It looks like that is called and no tag for the guy at second. But Jackson Holliday is now in, going against the lefty with 1 out in the first. Jackson Holliday is someone who is probably definitely going to move up to AAA after this game. I feel like he's earned it. He's hitting 268, 787 OPS, and 12 homers in AA. And he hit one through the gap on the right side, and I forgot that I'm controlling the base runner. So he holds at third. And Jackson Holliday has a single for today. And here is Ryan O'Hearn. Do we steal with Jackson Holliday? At least not on the first pitch. Oh, my goodness. How do I miss that one? But O'Hearn has a 292 average. He might be someone who moves up to the big league or to AAA as well. And Holliday takes off. Pitch is high. And Holliday is thrown out at second. It's a bit unfortunate. But maybe Ryan O'Hearn can get this run in from third. I'm being a little bit more relaxed with how I play here in the AA and AAA All-Star games. This is just a chance to basically get a look at our top prospects. So think of this as what you would just kind of our player spotlight that we did in episode 4. But he grounds out the first base, and that takes us to the bottom of the first. And I don't believe, I looked at the roster beforehand, we don't have any pitchers playing here at AA. But our next at bat will be with Toby Welk here. Will definitely be moving up to AAA. He has definitely earned it with hitting over 300 on the season so far in the first half. And I believe he leads the AA team in pretty much like every category. That one softly grounded to the pitcher, and he is retired. And that means we get a chance to look at Kobe Mayo, who we didn't get to see in the Futures game. But he steps in here in the top of the third. Looking at the first strike in the bottom of the zone from Nick Garcia. Oh, and he got me swinging the slider way outside. I was looking for a fastball. If you guys are enjoying this episode, leave a like down below. And comment, subscribe to the channel if you want to see more of this. And let me know how you liked the last couple episodes. Episode 4 and 4.5. I should have just named it episode 4 and 5. But we went through a month per episode. Got a look at player locks, a full game. As Connor Norby hits that into left field again. But we got to look at player locks. Got to look at the full game in episode 4.5. And I feel like that's kind of a good way to kind of take this whole series, just because I want to play full games like that, but I also want to get through these seasons fairly quickly, get through looking at some of these prospects down in the minors and also some of our players up at the majors. So I think that the last episode of the season, the last month of the season is going to be, the September call-ups, the August. August is mainly going to be looking at all of our prospects, see who we kind of want to take a look at, see who maybe gets a call-up to AAA or the big league club. And then September is going to be pretty much a lot of player locks with guys in the majors, see if we want to keep them up, see if we want to keep them on the team for next year. Got me swinging with a changeup. And see who we want to keep and who we want to let go. And I feel like there are a few players that we can let go and a few that, we can keep on this team to see how they progress. But yeah, I really enjoy your guys' feedback. Anything that y'all leave on the channel is very helpful to me. Likes, very help, as that one is hit in the outfield and fly ball out for O'Hearn. But yeah, the likes really help with getting my content out to more people. Lets me know that y'all are liking what I'm putting out. And I want to be able to put out good content for you guys. And if y'all have any suggestions of what you would like to see on this channel more, leave that down in the comments as well, because you guys are going to be, you know, deciding where this series goes and how long we kind of play this series. I want y'all to be as much a part of this channel as I am, because I want y'all to, you know, enjoy what you're watching. We have 0-2 here to Toby Welk. And swung on top of the changeup. And here's Kobe Mayo, his second opportunity. Fouls that off to the right side. And he's actually on a cold streak in the series. 0 for 1 today, and I've not been able to hit with any of our batters actually this game. So hopefully I can pick it up in the AAA and the MLB All-Star game. And swung on top of the changeup again. Guess I'm just a little bit out in front. And here's Connor Norby hitting number 2. And at least, you know, our pitching is keeping us in this game. I just got to do a little bit better hitting with these guys. That's hard to first. Back to short. And the double play to end the 6th. That's not what I wanted. And as soon as I say our pitcher is keeping us in this, they give up a 3-run home run and a couple singles, and takes us into the 7th inning. Down 4-0. Jackson Holiday up. And we have a 5% chance of winning. And every time I think of percentages and chances of winning, it makes me think of Steiner math. I don't know if any of you guys are wrestling fans, but Steiner math promo, it's great. The numbers don't lie, and they spell disaster for you. Here's Ryan O'Hearn in the 7th. He's a power hitter, and especially against righties. So we'll see if he can hit one out of the park. And we're actually playing at our own ballpark. I just noticed that. Judging from how I play with the big league team, maybe that's the reason I'm not hitting very well. And softly fly it out to left field, and that will be the 2nd out of the 7th. We're here in the top of the 9th with Josh Lester hitting. And I simmed through some of those other batters just because I thought that maybe they'd get replaced, but didn't really happen. So Kobe Mayo and all those guys, they kind of just didn't get an opportunity, but I think I want to try and pinch hit some guys. We'll have Reed Trimble pinch hit. He is on our team. He actually took over with an injury that we had. And he gets a base hit on the right side. That's what we like to see. And we'll get a pinch hit here out of Hudson Haskins. There's a little glitch on the right side that says is Gabriel Rodriguez, but it is not. He's a center fielder on our team, getting his first bat here in the top of the 9th, so we can at least see what he has. And that is hit softly in right field and caught. And leaves it up to Toby Welk. I'm not going to replace him. Let's see if he can bring in, or at least get a hit to extend this game. Top of the 9th. And it's interesting that he's hitting so well when his ratings aren't very good. He's got 53 contact and 49 power against a lefty. Like, here are his stats. They're not exceptional, but he's hitting well. 306 average with 8 home runs and 242 at-bats. A 408 on-base percentage. But stats like that will get you called up to the AAA club, even if, you know, your attributes aren't very good. And I strike out at a very high fastball. So the East All-Stars win. And here's some of our stats if you guys would like to see those. Home run from Blake Sable. Kobe Mayo actually got hit by a pitch. And we didn't have any pitchers in this game make the All-Star team, which kind of shows why I went mostly pitcher during the draft. And now we're at an opportunity where we can sign and draft some of these guys. So I think that the first two guys we're going to try and sign are Jorge Valido and David Gonzalez. Solomon Wall, we're going to let him kind of sit there and maybe he can get a little bit more scouting progress to see if he's actually worth that $3.6 million. So Jorge Valido wants $1.47 million. His bonus demand is 1.1. I think we'll give him 1.1 and submit that offer, and he is decided to sign with us. So great news from him. David Gonzalez, offering him a contract, and his suggested slot value is $669, but I don't know if we want to go up that high. Let's go $550 to give him that 69% interest. And he declines. So we're going to have to up that up a little bit next time. But we'll get a little bit more interest. We'll keep him there as one of our priorities. And we're going to put Percy Kutch here to get a little bit more scouting progress on him. See if he's worth getting drafted. But actually, we're going to take David Gonzalez out and remove the draft pick. And we'll put someone that we also had to reach for, Steve Odell. So Steve Odell and Percy Kutch will get a little bit more scouting, and Solomon Wall will get a little bit more scouting and a little bit more interest from him. So I think I'm ready to roll with that. And our MLB All-Star game is going to be a little bit different than the minor leagues. We only had 2 players make the All-Star game. That is Adley Rutschman and Felix Bautista. So I'm just jumping in with a player lock game with Adley Rutschman, and we'll see how he plays here in the All-Star game. He's not in any spot of losing his starting spot, so it'll just be a fun little time to see how Adley Rutschman performs here at the All-Star game. And we'll get a look at all his plate appearances, if he gets any fielding opportunities. But he has a .323 average on the season, playing very well in the first half of the season. And I miss a 97-mile-an-hour fastball from Herman Marquez. That's hit to left field, and looks like Acuna is out there and left, and he has it. And we have an opportunity here in the field at the top of the third. Do I have to actually catch this ball? Oh, that was... I've never played as a player lock catcher, and I do not know what I'm doing. That was different. I can't believe Machado stole a base on us. And they have Clayton Kershaw here in the 4th. That's a hell of a reliever coming out of the pen, isn't it? Count is 1-2, so I'm a contact swing here. And chopped right back to Kershaw. Oh, man, I just can't catch a break. Do I need to lower this difficulty? Let me know what you guys think. Should I stay at Hall of Fame or drop it down to whatever is below that? But I don't want this series to be too easy. You know, I want it to be a little bit challenging. I did play a game before I got into this recording. But, I mean, like, that's good contact. It's just popped into center field. And I'm using timing hitting only. I don't have to move the PCI or anything, so. But let's see if we can throw out Machado again if he tries to steal. Yep, he does. From the feet, and we got him that time. I was ready for it. You're not doing it again, Machado. Fool me once, shame on you. Or is it fool me once, shame on me? But the AL comes away with the win in the All-Star game, which means absolutely nothing. We have Adley Rutschman go 0 for 4, which is absolutely terrible. I chalk that up to his position in the batting order. But we did get an inning out of Shohei Ohtani. Did he hit it all? He did not. That kind of seems like a waste. But Felix Bautista did get .2 outs, walked 3 batters, and he got a hold in the All-Star game. Here's the NL stats if you guys care about that. We 6-hit them. And we have one more All-Star game, the AAA All-Star game, and I feel like we have a few players in this as well. And joke's on me, we only have one player here in the All-Star game, and that is Greg Cullen, a second baseman, but he wasn't in the starting lineup. He was on the bench, but I moved him into the starting lineup so we can at least see a few hits with him. And we'll see. I think his position is safe at AAA, but I think that just kind of shows that we have a lot of people in AA that could probably be moved up to the AAA ball club. And a lot of AAA players that can be moved down to AA. But here's Greg Cullen hitting .272 on the season with 4 home runs and 32 RBIs, going against Ryan Murphy, the righty. And hitting the gap on the left side between third and short, and that is a base hit. And he gets another opportunity here in the third. And if you guys know any way to try and fix this lagging that goes on with some of these cutscenes, please let me know. It's a bit irritating when, you know, everything else on the game is smooth. It's just the cutscenes that are lagging. Little ahead of the slider. And they have a lefty, a new pitcher on the mound now, Kyle Harrison. Ooh, and he's throwing gas. Up high, 95 miles an hour.
That's a ball.
Or 2-2 count. Oh. So here we are in the bottom of, or the top of the 6th, going against Kyle Tyler. Man has 2 first names. And he pitches like it too. And this is worked to a 3-1 count. Come on, Kyle Tyler. Two first names. There we go. Off your ankle. Can we run out the base hit? And we do. So Greg Cullen has his 2nd hit of the day, I believe. Yes, he is 2 for 3. And he scores a run. And we'll give him one more chance here. He's already 2 for 3 with 2 singles and a run scored in the top of the 8th. Up by 2 with no on and no out. Looking to get his 3rd hit of the day. And maybe he can stick around and be a starting second baseman, but I think he does have D potential. And Terran Vavra is up there at AAA. I believe he's going to get sent down to AA, and Connor Norby will take his spot up there in AAA. And maybe he'll actually replace Cullen as a starter. But Cullen has worked this to a 3-0 count. I might swing just for the shiggles. Nope, just watch a circle changeup on the inside. And power swinging just doesn't cut it. 3-2 now, full count to Greg Cullen. And that's hit into left field down the line to have enough carry. It doesn't. First out is caught. And we hold on to win this 4-0 in the 9th. And Cade Bunnell is your player of the game. If you want to look at the stats, here's Greg Cullen's stat line at the very bottom of the screen. He went 2 for 4 with a run scored and a strikeout to improve. Well, I guess it doesn't improve his average because this is just an extra game. But there are our pitchers for the International League and the Pacific Coast League. Is that what that is? There are their stats. They only had 2 hits on the day, so our pitching rotation was shutting them down. And we sextupled that total. And at least there's something at stake for the AAA All-Star game. So we have secured, or the International League has secured, home field advantage for the AAA National Championship. And I will simulate one more day, and then I want to get some call-ups and some demotions going on and show y'all guys. Okay, first I'll show you who we were thinking about making a trade for Michael Givens. He's a 32-year-old pitcher. He's going up, but for us, he just hasn't had the volume, because if you look at our stats, Tyler Wells has 80 innings pitched, and then the next closest is like 25. So Tyler Wells is taking a lot of those reliever responsibilities, and he's pitching extremely well. He has a 3.01 ERA and a 1.15 WHIP, 0.2 WAR. So he's taking a lot of those chances away from Michael Givens and some of the other guys. So that's why I'm wanting to trade away Michael Givens. I don't feel like he's going to give our AAA club that much of an improvement, and I mean, 32 years old, I don't think he's going to be in our plans next year, and he's making $5 million. So the first player that I thought about trading Michael Givens for is Johan Camargo. He's a third baseman. I'm looking for a little bit of infielder depth when we send Jordan Westberg down, and Franchi Cordero will come up to replace Heston Kjerstad. But Johan Camargo, he's in the AAA right now. He's hitting 201, so he's not hitting very good. But he is a switch hitter. He has good fielding. He's an okay hitter. He's not going to wow you at all. But really, he's just a body that I do not care whether he hits good or not. He's kind of just a bench player for us. And all of these players that I'm showing you, they are on teams with a relief pitcher need. Michael Givens is 68 overall. And I'm looking for guys like in these top four players that are 68. Have someone that's like 68 or lower. Next up for the Rangers, we have Brad Miller, someone with a little bit of pop. Bats left-handed, has a lot of utility, a decent fielder, but he's in AAA right now, or he's in the majors right now. He's only hitting 166, but he does have 5 home runs in 223 at-bats. He's still making the same amount of money, but excels at pinch hitting, which, I mean, he might not do a lot of, but good discipline, good clutch, good power. Someone that I could see us adding to the club just for that, 1 year to give us some time for these young prospects to move up the ranks. And the Reds are another needy team for a relief pitcher, but there's a couple guys that I thought about going and grabbing. Matt Reynolds is a first baseman, so he can back up Mountcastle and has some utility. He's a decent contact hitter, good fielding, decent speed. He's in AAA right now, hitting 281. So he's not someone that they would call up to the major league level. I don't think at any point. They have Joey Votto. They have Michael Triana, who is younger and a little bit better, I believe. And then there's also Chad Pinder, a 31-year-old, 65 overall second baseman. Very good against a lefty. Against a righty, he struggles. Good fielder. He's a little bit slow. And he hasn't played at the majors at all yet. So that's the second choice that we have, and they're definitely interested in making both of these trades. And then there's Jason Vosler, who we'd have to give up a little bit more for, but he's 29 years old, 69 overall, has good power, he hits left. He's in AAA, hitting 282. I think he could be someone who could make the team and maybe even make the team next year if he improves some of his stats. But that is what the Reds kind of offer us. And the Brewers are also an interesting team as they need relief pitcher help. And they have a couple guys that I thought about. One is Abraham Toro. He's a little bit younger than some of the other guys that I've targeted, but he has good power against a righty. He has decent contact against a lefty that could improve. But the main thing that draws my eye is he is a switch hitter. And right now in the MLB, in 42 games, he's hitting 270. And he's only making 1.3 mil with a few years of team control still. So he's somebody that I would like to go get. And then we'd also have to give up a little bit more. But we have a few players that Abraham Toro would replace. And then there's Mike Brosseau, who we'd also have to give up a little bit more for. But he's 29 years old, bats from the right side, has a lot of utility. Good hitter against lefties, struggles a bit against righties. A little bit more just a straight platoon DH, but he's only hitting 209 in the majors right now with 7 home runs and 115 at-bats. So he's a utility player for them right now. But either of these two guys are ones that I would like to maybe go and try and get. And I mean, if we're looking at first baseman, we can give up O'Hearn and Josh Lester and T.T. Bowens. Jacob Teeter for Mike Brosseau. The Pirates, they need relief pitcher help. There's a couple guys I thought about. First off, Mark Mathias, 28 years old with 68 overall. His stats are going down, but like I said, I just need somebody to kind of take up a body. But he has good power against a lefty. He's okay against a righty, and he's hitting 274 right now in 87 games and 314 at bats. I think he might actually be their everyday second baseman, or at least playing somewhere. But he has 14 home runs already on the season. So that power is at least being used by him, and he's only making $720K. We'd have to give up a little bit, but it wouldn't take much at all. And then also someone I'm looking at like, getting someone a little bit up in age because they'd be a little bit cheaper. But Connor Joe intrigued me because he's 30 years old. He has some good contact against a lefty. He's not a slouch against a righty. Good fielding. He can play first, third, and also in the outfield. And he's hitting 305 right now for the Pirates. He's hitting 305, okay? He doesn't hit a lot of home runs. He's cheap. He excels with hitting with 2 strikes. He has a quirk. So he's someone who could actually come on the team and be a good backup for maybe a couple years. Maybe that would allow us, to replace whenever we get rid of Jurickson Profar, or if he leaves after the season. He kind of has the same skill set. Profar's a switch hitter, good contact, a little bit less power, good fielding, and Connor Joe is kind of the same thing. He just has a bit more power against lefties. The Giants are a bit less likely to trade, but there's a couple guys we could get. Wilmer Flores, he's 31 years old. They're interested in making the deal. He has ascending ratings, good vision, decent power, decent fielding. Right now he's hitting 243 on their club through 64 games, and he has a lot of infielder utility. And then a guy that we'd have to give up a little bit more for, there's J.D. Davis, who's a little bit more of a contact hitter but has some pop. Very good arm, plays third, first, and left field. He's hitting 264 right now for the Giants in 284 at-bats with 6 home runs. And has a couple quirks, and he's making less money than Michael Givens. So either one of those two players, J.D. Davis or Wilmer Flores, are who we could go with from the Giants. And that wraps up all of these trade opportunities for Michael Givens. So you guys let me know who y'all think would make a bigger or at least a better impact on the team. We're just going to go ahead and move this roster around a little bit and send some players down to AA, send some players up to AAA. And so we have a bit of a change for our AA. Jackson Holiday is staying down here. Josh Lester gets sent down. Lewin Diaz gets sent down. Tejan Vevra gets sent down. Kobe Mayo, we're sitting him still in AA just because he's on a cold streak. Joey Ortiz gets sent down. And Anthony Bimboom will get sent down because he's just not producing as a catcher, and he's 33 years old, so he's not really in our plans for the future. Oh yeah, and Kyle Stowers will get sent down as well to make room for Franchi Cordero, or for Heston Kjerstad getting sent down from the major. So this is our lineup against a righty, and our lineup against a lefty is pretty much the same. I think the only thing that changes is Adam Hall moves as the third hitter against a lefty, and against a righty it is Kyle Stowers, and then Josh Lester is our DH for both righty and lefty. Actually, I want to change Joey Ortiz to be our DH against lefties, just so he can get in the lineup. He doesn't stagnate a little bit on his stuff. So we'll still keep Lewin Diaz as the number 5 hitter. Joey Ortiz is actually going to replace Adam Hall. Even though Adam Hall's hitting 275 with 5 homers, we'll keep Ortiz there and there. Okay, I'm happy with keeping it like that. And these are how our AAA lineups look. Colton Cowser still in AAA, hitting 277. Cullen batting second, hitting 272. He stays there, keeps his spot at second base. Jordan Westberg getting sent down to AAA, but gets the 3rd spot in the order. Heston Kjerstad also getting sent down is the cleanup. Ryan O'Hearn getting called up from AA. He will slot in at first. And Toby Welk getting an opportunity here in AAA at left field. Nomar Mazara against righties will continue to be the DH. Connor Norby moves up from AA. and will slot in at shortstop. We also have Caden Grenier, who is hitting well, but he's going to be the shortstop against lefties. And Samuel Basallo, he's only hitting 200, but we don't really have much more depth at catcher. His ratings are still going up. He's a 63 overall, C potential. His contact's going down against lefty a little bit, but everything else is going well. And then against lefties, same deal pretty much. Kauser, Cullen, Westberg, Kerstad, Norby at shortstop, and Caden Grenier is actually in left field with Toby Welk at first and Ryan McKenna at DH. And on the bench we have Ryan O'Hearn, Cesar Prieto, I just kept him up at AAA, Nomar Mazara, Mark Collisveri, who's getting a call up from AA just because Bim Boom got sent down. And that is our AAA lineups. Let me know how y'all feel about these. And at the major league level, our lineups don't really change very much. The only difference I'm making is Gunnar Henderson is now going to lead off. I had him leading off leading up to the draft whenever we started this episode. I just forgot to cover it. And he was on a cold streak, but now he's on a hot streak. He has 22 RBIs, 6 home runs. He's playing a lot better here since moving up to that leadoff spot. And then backed up by Cedric Mullins, Gavin Mountcastle, Santander. I moved Rutschman up in the order because he's hitting 323. Why not? I'd like to see his stats against a lefty go up. But Yerkton Profar is still our DH. Urias is at third. Frazier still at second. And Austin Hayes at left field. And then against a lefty, pretty much the same deal. It's just Profar and McCann will switch. And then we have Cordero on the bench. I'm leaving an open roster spot. We actually have 2 open roster spots right now on the team at the major league level. We have 24 out of 26 spots, so we could go out and pick up 2 players to play in the field. But I want you guys to let me know who y'all think that I should go and trade Michael Givens for, and then maybe we can make a trade with someone else that we have on the roster with some of those picks that I also ran through earlier. But this is what our depth chart kind of looks like right now. We are 4th in defense, so we're very good defensively, but everything else is kind of going to have to be torn down after this year, and we're going to have to go after a lot of help next year. I'm thinking that we're not going to go after, big name free agents, but we will definitely make a point to actually go and get some guys that can help this team, maybe be role players. And we know a little bit more about our draft pick, Steve Odell. We knew he wasn't a good hitter, but he is a great fielder, it looks like, as a catcher. Percy Hutch, he's not quite interested in signing yet, but we'll give him another week to be scouted and gain some interest. But it looks like he's going to have good contact, some good fielding, decent speed, and he's a switch hitter. The only thing I'm worried about, his overall range is higher than his potential, so he might be one of those guys that starts out high but is like a D overall. And then Solomon Wall seems like he's going to be pretty solid, so I think let's get an opportunity to try and offer him a contract. Looks like he wants 3.6. His projected value was 3.79, so I'll give him somewhere in the middle of that. We'll go 3.75 and submit that offer, and he has decided to sign. So we sign our first round draft pick. That's a relief. Next up, I think we're going to try and sign David Gonzalez. I'm pretty sure he's going to be a pretty good pitcher. We already know his scouting progress. He doesn't want a lot of money with his contract. Slot value 669. He only wants 637. So let's give him what he wants, and he has decided to sign. And I'll go ahead and sign Cameron Dickinson. He wants 680,000. Slot value is 929. So we'll go with 696. It's got 69 in it. Nice. And he has decided to sign. And then the last player, Alexi Alonso, we don't know much about him. 54% scouted. So we'll add him to the scout, and we will advance and take y'all to the next day to sign these picks, which is in another 3 days, as we take on Miami after the All-Star game. And so close to getting a sweep. We lost this last one 3-5. Loss goes to Tyler Wells, who is actually one of our best pitchers coming out of the pen. But Bradish and Gibson both get wins, improving their ERA a bit. And we have the Dodgers for a 3-game series where we lose our first one. Dylan Tate's going to be out for a few days, drop the second, and get swept by the Dodgers with a combined score of 16-8. But re-signing these picks, Alexi Alonso, I think I'm fairly happy with those ratings. I wish his home runs per 9 were a bit higher. But we'll see what he is wanting for his contract, $369. I think we'll up it a little bit, and he decides to sign with us. So that means that Percy Kutch and Steve Odell are the last 2 left. And I mean, with Percy Kutch, his potential is going to go lower than his actual overall right now. Not sure if we want to sign him, but I'll let him get fully scouted and see where he stands with that. And do we even want to sign Steve Odell? I'm going to stop this series before the month is over, just so that I can get some of your guys' input on the trades and some of these scouting. But let me know if you think that we should go out and actually sign Odell and Kutch. And then we lose to Tampa Bay again and win our last one against Tampa Bay. And looking at signing these prospects, I'm going to let it go for one more week just because I want to get your guys' input on what we should do with these guys. If y'all think that they have some upside and they can help out the team, let me know in the comments down below. But last thing we're going to do is we're going to simulate this Tampa Bay game, get through the Phillies series, and then we'll leave the Yankees series to end out the month so that we can have some time to make a few trades. The Braves want to offer Orlando Arcia for Kyle Stowers. 71 overall, right-handed bat. He's hitting .234 right now for their club. He's signed for 2 days or 2 years. So that is a trade that we could definitely make. I would not be against that. He's a righty and he hits righties well. And for Kyle Stowers, is he's someone, he's who we just moved down to AA, who I don't think is really in our plans. So y'all let me know if y'all think I should make this pick. That's not something that I'm against. We do actually have 2 open spots, so we could go get Orlando Arcia and one of those other guys for Michael Givens, who I ran through earlier. But we lose our first 2 to Philly, and today is a day to sign draft picks. And Percy Kutch is fully scouted. Looks like he's not going to have much improvement. His potential is a 66. He comes in as a good fielder, has good vision. Contact against a righty is pretty good. Everything else is kind of slacking. Not sure if we can sign him. I don't want to put aside $400K to sign somebody that we might just cut. But you guys let me know if y'all think we should sign him. And Steve Odell looks like he is just pretty much a pure fielder. But I mean, that's not a bad thing as a backup catcher. And I'm actually going to sim through the Yankees game and get to the final draft pick screen so that I can show you guys kind of what Odell has to offer. And he's pretty much fully scouted, so that's what you're going to get. Highest potential is a 70, so he's probably going to be a C or a D potential, all fielding, backup catcher, and he only wants 253. I feel like he might be someone that we can let sit down in Class A or AA to kind of get his act together. But you guys let me know if you think I should sign Steve Odell, if I should sign Percy Kutch. I think he's someone that I could actually see us signing. But I'll wait to see some of your comments down below and some of what you guys think as we finish out, or as we get to start to finishing out July and move into August. And looking at some of our team rankings for batting average, we are 25th with a 245. In runs, we are 28th with only 380, so at least we're not last. Home runs, we're bottom of the barrel with 26th in the MLB, only hitting 100. But Anthony Santander is at 19 at the halfway point, Ryan Mountcastle at 12, and Mullins at 10. For pitching stats, we're 12th in strikeouts with 706. We are 19th with a 4.09 ERA with Cole Irvin leading the team. And we've allowed 453 runs, Not the worst, which is 563 from the Nationals. Looking at standings, we are at 43 and 60 right now, 16 games behind of the Yankees, who lead the division at 59 and 44. And in the wild card, we are 11 and a half games back at 43 and 60 from the 3 wild card spots. Not far behind. I mean, still time to catch up and make the wild card. I don't think we will. I don't think we're going to be sellers either at the deadline. But here are our statistics. If there's anyone that y'all think that we should try and sell later on. Rutschman leads us in average. Urias is behind him. Frazier, McCann. And we only have 4 players hitting over 250. Looks like Franchy Cordero's hitting 214. And he's the only one that we called up. Home run leader on the team, like earlier, Anthony Santander with 19. He's on pace for maybe being a 40 home run hitter. Stolen base on the season, Cedric Mullins with 21 and Mateo behind him with 14. Gunnar Henderson down here with 5. Most runs on the team, Cedric Mullins. RBI, Santander with 50. And for WAR, Adley Rutschman is at 5.1. Hayes, Mateo, Profar, Henderson, Cordero, all at 0 or negative. But for our pitching stats, Cole Irvin leads the team with 9 wins, but he also has 8 losses. Bradish is 4 and 11. Innings pitched, Cole Irvin leads that as well. Most strikeouts we saw was Kyle Bradish, but a few people in the 70s, and Tyler Wells has the nicest amount. ERA leader is Dylan Tate with Ken Giles and Keegan Allen behind him. For our starters, it looks like all of them are, would you call this struggling? A 5.44, 5.1, 4.7, 4.1, 3.89, 3.62. They're doing okay, but I would like to see a little bit better out of them. High whips all around except for a few pitchers in our pen. And pitching wars, Cole Irvin leads us, and he's the only one in whole numbers. Kyle Gibson 0.9 and Felix Bautista at 0.9. Everyone else is lower. But no negative WAR players. I believe our only negative WAR player might have been Michael Givens, who we just sent down. But Felix Bautista, 10 Ks per 9. That's exceptional. Joey Crable, I'm very impressed with how he's pitched so far. Only a 67 overall. He has a 2.61 ERA, so I'm thinking that he might have earned his spot on the team next year. But that's going to wrap it up for this game. We could also run some contract extensions going into next season. I think Adley Rutschman is definitely someone to bring back, as is Bautista, Mountcastle, Mullins, Santander, Henderson. I'd like to keep this group that we have together. Now, there are some older guys that we may think about moving on from, like John Means. Maybe Austin Hayes. Maybe we can trade him at the deadline if we don't plan on re-signing him. Jorge Mateo. You guys let me know what y'all would like to see. If y'all enjoyed the episode, leave a like down below. If you would like to leave your feedback down below, I love hearing that. And subscribe to the channel to see more of this. And next time we'll get some trades going, try and get through August, go to September call-ups. And then the episode after that will be ending the season, and then it'll be the off season. So only maybe 2 or 3 more episodes after this. So thank you all for watching, and I'll see you next time.